Throughout the years of DC live action, we've seen some comic book suits that are great, and some that could clearly use some work. So when establishing the DCU, it is necessary that we get this correct. So without further ado, this is what I want the suits to look like for every Batfamily member. And starting with who else but the Caped Crusader. On screen is the most popular option for the DCU Batman, his Hush 2 suit. I don't dislike this suit, but it is definitely not my first option. Batman is more than just darkness or vengeance, and we should see that in his suit. And in World's Finest 2022, that's exactly what we get. We keep the navy blue and gray from Hush 2, but we add in the yellow oval bat logo, which is Batman's symbol of hope. To a villain, that might be a warning sign, but to someone who's being hurt, that's the sign that they might be saved. When someone is staring through a dark alley, they're hoping to see one thing shine back at them, and that's that yellow oval in a street light. This is not a staple of every Batman suit, but I think it's one that should be. So I really hope the DCU goes all in with this design and shows us how a villain can fear this logo and a civilian can feel safe when seeing it in the night. Very niche thing I need to see on a Batman suit is a cape that's so long it hides his whole body. For logistic reasons, the cape would obviously need to be pinned up for action sequences, but honestly, I think it's worth all that extra work because honestly, it just adds to Batman's aura. I wish I had another way of saying that, but just look at this image. I know white eyes are heavily controversial, but I really believe they could work. I think especially in scenes where Batman is out at night or using detective vision, white eyes is a great way to show that. And if DC was to be nervous that an actor couldn't showcase his emotions while wearing lenses, I think you could do what they did with Mr. Terrific and put them on and off as they see fit. And finally, arguably the thing I care about the most with his whole suit is the hoodie cowl. In Brave and the Bold, Batman will have a son and a very problematic one at that. He should be able to easily remove his mask when talking to his son. Also, if I'm being honest, it's just the way most of us imagine Batman's cowl when we think of Batman outside of live action. Before we move on to the rest of the Batfamily, it would mean the world to me if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe. But now let's move on to the gray son of Gotham, Dick Grayson Nightwing. I am fighting every urge in my body to not suggest the 1995 Nightwing suit as it's my favorite, but this just isn't how most people think of Nightwing. So what I would actually suggest is his Nightwing suit from Young Justice. To this day, I still believe this to be his best logo, and it's also equipped with a utility belt. For those who don't know, Nightwing usually carries his gear in his Eskrima sticks, which is really hard to show in live action format. The only problem with this suit is it doesn't have the blue lines going down the arms, which I and a bunch of others really like. Weirdly enough, later seasons of Young Justice would add these lines, but they changed the original Nightwing logo. I think that Young Justice first Nightwing logo is the best we've ever gotten. If you can add these stripes to that exact first Nightwing suit, you created the best Nightwing suit ever. Next, we move on to Jason Todd Red Hood. Weirdly enough, when we include Jason Todd, we have to talk about his Robin suit, and I think it should be this one right here. I hope we start Brave and the Bold thinking Jason Todd is dead, so we get a live action under the Red Hood, which means we need a Robin suit in the Batcave for Jason Todd, and I think this is the perfect one. We shouldn't move into live action with pantsless Robins anymore, so let's use this reimagined Robin look. As far as the actual Red Hood design, I really love the Red Hood in the Outlaws New 52 leather jacket look. I am actually not picky between full mask or half mask, but if you do go half mask, red eyes are necessary. There's really not too much more to say about Jason Todd. He's one of the best designed characters ever, besides that weird time period where he had a talking Red Hood mask. This is just gross. Next, we will move on to Tim Drake, who I am positive will be the first Robin of the DCU. Before Bruce will discover Damian Wayne in Brave and the Bold, Tim Drake will be the Robin, and I think it should be in his black, yellow, and red suit. This is such an iconic Tim Drake look. I think it's a massive miss to not put him in this suit. But if he does decide to move on from being Robin in the DCU, I think we should get an amalgamation of his two Red Robin suits. I love the cowl of the original 2009 Red Robin suit. I think it's the perfect in-between between Batman and a Robin. And Tim finding that perfect middle ground is so narratively symbolic, but everything else about the suit is worse than his later iterations of this Red Robin suit. One thing I especially love is the Red Robin wings. I know people have a bad taste in their mouth from this era of Tim Drake, but this was not the problem. And it's a nice reminder that Tim Drake is very, very smart, so he has a metal wing that can cut through anything. Next, we move on to Stephanie Brown, who goes by either Batgirl or Spoiler. If they choose to keep her as Spoiler, change literally nothing from what's on your screen, this suit is perfect. But if the goal is to make her a Batgirl, make sure she has her cowl back. This 2009 look of Stephanie Brown Batgirl is extremely iconic and exactly the perfect suit. suit. So purple, black, and yellow all looks really good together, but is different enough from Barbara's suit. But ever since this period, DC has tried to merge these two suits, putting the spoiler mask on top of a Batgirl suit, and it just doesn't look nearly as good. Both of these suits are better individually than they are combined, so please pick a lane and stay with it, DC. Now we're on to the 5th Robin, and my personal favorite Robin, Damian Wayne. If I had to choose the suit for Damian to be introduced in, I would choose this suit right here. You might be saying, this isn't a Robin suit, and I would say, exactly. Damian is far too dangerous to be Robin right away, but if DC wants to do it, then I would prefer a suit more like this. This is Damian's design from Teen Titans Rebirth, and it characterizes his character really well. It has some nods to the League of Assassins with the suit design and long spiky cape, while also diversifying him from all other Robins because he is so different. Some major essentials for this suit are the hood and the detachable cape. It is well established within DC that masterful fighters don't like fighting with capes because it's a weakness, so Damian being able to remove his makes way more sense. Now moving on to Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle, aka Batgirl. If Barbara Gordon is going to be Oracle in the DCU, then she can wear actually anything she wants, but if we are getting a Batgirl Barbara Gordon, then I really hope it's this exact purple and yellow suit. This has become the look for Barbara Gordon across all medias, and I think it's far too iconic to abandon. It just doesn't even feel right to me when I see Barbara Gordon in more traditional Batman colors anymore. And while talking about Batgirls, let's talk about the most dangerous Batgirl, the daughter of Lady Shiva, Cassandra Cain. And my message for this suit is change absolutely nothing at all. Cassandra Cain's suit is amazing, and so is her writing. If you rip this character straight out of the comic books and put her in a movie just like that, she will be everybody's favorite Batgirl. The only things I'll be picky with when it comes to Cassandra Cain is that I like the stitching on her mask and the big eyes. I also think you have to get the pointy ears right. I understand that some people might think they're goofy. You have to get them right. It's part of cast. We've talked about Batgirls. Now let's talk about Batwoman and Kate Kane. Kate Kane is almost another flawless Batfamily design, but the two major flaws with Kate Kane in both live action and comic adaptations come from her gauntlets and cape. Her cape is weirdly short and her gauntlets don't have spikes on them. Her gauntlets should look exactly like Batman's, and whatever you pick for the Batman suit, put on hers. Next, we'll be moving on to Azrael, who we're actually going to see in the DCU in the Nightfall adaptation. Azrael's suit design has always been great, but the comics have a tendency to make him look very, very bulky. I think the best idea is to cut down the bulk on his suit just a little bit for live action, but keep this same exact color scheme and pattern. But DC, please make this look like real gold. He comes from the court of Saint Dumas. They have ridiculous money. Next, we will move on to Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, a character that everyone seems to think that DC always gets right. But what I will say is that I really want her to have her cowl and her ears, and I personally really love the retractable claws look for Catwoman. Next, we have one of my favorite characters ever, Helena Bertinelli, Huntress. And for this one, I am notably picky. I really love the Huntress Year 1 look. I think some characters who are portrayed as dark should also be wearing very dark color. Not only for the practical elements of what she does on a night out, but also because admittedly this character won't receive much screen time. We need to know her vibe just by looking at her. And as much as I've tried to make a different choice for this video, I can't get my mind off picking this suit. And as for everyone's favorite Batfamily member, Alfred, I want him to be in a tuxedo with cucumber sandwiches ready every time I see him on my screen. There is no days off for Alfred, because with Tom King's involvement in the DCU, who knows how long we'll have him around for. And the final character I'm going to be talking about is Signal. Duke Thomas is the daytime protector of Gotham, so it makes sense that he would be wearing a bright yellow suit. So I have really no notes about his design, except again, please add Batman's gauntlets to every Batfamily member. But ultimately, I was thinking about leaving Duke Thomas off this list because I'm not 100% sure he'll be in the DCU at all. Signal can't seem to find his way into comic books, so I really hope he can make it here. And if DC wanted to take a swing on his design and do something new and unique and cool in an effort to get the casual audience more excited about this character again, I'm all for it. So honestly, if DC wanted to take that swing that's well above my pay pay grade, but I'm willing to see any type of suit design if it can bring Duke Thomas back to comic books, because oh my god, I miss this character so much. And this brings me to my final point of the video. I did leave out a good amount of Batfamily members from this video, but it's just because I don't think we'll ever get to see them in the DCU. But I promise you, if I get to see a character like Batwing or Ghostmaker in the DCU, I will be jumping out of my seat with enjoyment. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody who made it to the end of this video. If you could, once again, please drop a comment, a like, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I love making this type of content for you guys, and I'm so excited to keep on posting.